All right, this run was one of the weirdest ones, but most educational grows I've had so far. We're talking about barely green, early veg. Plant looks stuck in time. Then the moment they hit a bigger tint, they finally start acting alive. Half of the plants even showed purple tones while others stayed green. Same run, same setup, totally different outcomes. And a long veg experiment I'm doing, like long. If you're new and you're learning, if you look at your tint and you're like, what am I doing wrong? This video is for you. This is an educational video. Contents are for adults 21 years or older. We're legal. Nothing is for sale. I'm not providing any sources, and I'm just documenting my indoor growth. Well, we popped in some new seeds. If you guys got any recommendations for me to try out any other seeds, let me know. But for now, we're gonna be planting and testing out this whole grow it in one, grow it in the same bucket you're planning on flowering in kind of situation. So we got 4 or 5 gallon buckets. All 4 of them have at the bottom half of it Fox Farm Ocean, and then the top half has Fox Farm Happy Frog blend. So we got 2 going at the same time. So the top 1/3 is Happy Frog and the bottom half is Ocean Forest. And we got this plant that's near done. This is probably going to be done in about 2 weeks. So yeah, hopefully the light schedule doesn't mess it up too bad. We start out in a 2x2, and while we do what we do, we wait until the 4x4 is open, because we still got plants in the 4x4 right now from the last video. So this is the next video after the last video. So every video we see growing is going to just be the process of me growing the next video after. Around day 30, I move the plant into a bigger tin so they can fully develop. Then the smaller tint becomes a little starter place for the next run, because I'm trying to start a consistent, or stay consistent with uploading. And real quick, I got like 5 videos or 5 more videos to edit through that are going to be like a long hour form videos. So if you like that kind of stuff, drop a like, comment below, subscribe, turn on that bell notification to be alerted when I'm uploading next. So the reason I'm running seed and veg in the 2x2 first is simple. It's easy to control early on. Less space to condition, less airflow chaos, and it's perfect for early structure. But once plants get bigger, that's when the 4x4x8 becomes a game changer. More room, more stable environment, and better spacing. The goal here is to keep a clean workflow. In the 2x2, we're thinking veg and starting out in the next run. So we got these 3 right here are almost 2 weeks old, but only 1 week since it's seeded or became a seedling. This one is only 1 day old, 1 day old, 1 day old. It's crazy. The green is fully on the leaf now. This was like lime green, kind of yellowish. Back with another update. Let's check out what's going on in the tent. Watered the plants already. We've got more growth, looking healthy. All sense of purpose. This one has like another, it grew a little bit here, while this one did not. These ones are a little bit lengthy. I still have not found a way to keep these babies from growing like this. I've literally got the light on around 40% brightness. So yeah. Remember this plant right here? It was really yellow on the leaving. It was really yellow on the leaves. And now it looks like it's doing well. The soil around the plant is moist just by like trickling a little bit of water on the plant, but the majority of the water is actually in the center where the actual plant is at, such as this solo cups. I'm trying to mimic what it would be like if this solo cup or this plant was in a solo cup but inside this 5-gallon pots. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gallons, and then we got 2 solo cups. This one's a little bit behind because this one didn't sprout till a week later. Pause, let me correct right there. This one right here is behind because the plant did not take off. The yellowing was there and it did not take off, and the seedling was still very, very small and it died, so I planted a new seed. And my hairs got stuck there. These things are like magnets. They attract hair statically. Oh. Perfect. We looking nice in here. Growing. Some stuff we're gonna be smoking. These babies look super lengthy. The stretch on this is really weird. Look at that. What the sigma? Oh. It's all good because in the future, the canopy is gonna be above the pot. So I guess that's a good thing. It looks the same here. This season we're going to be doing 5 or 6 grows, but we're going to be using 4 5-gallon pots. And then we got 2 photo periods here. We're going to use one for a perpetual grow, depending on which one looks great in its, veg state? Whatever. Nice. Stay tuned. So here we are. Update. Humidity was around 68-ish with a 78 temperature. The stretch is pretty wild on this. Is it supposed to look like this? I don't even know. As I said before, I'm no expert, but I'm trying to get better at this. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, back in the tent. We got in total 6 quick ones going and 2 OG Kush going. We're gonna have one be a mother plant and one's gonna be just flowering, just to try it out. And then on these quick ones, these are all autoflowers. We planted 2 more quick ones to test out the solo cup theory, where we can just go from a solo cup to a big 5-gallon, or should we just start in the 5-gallon? Because we're looking at the solo cups here and they're looking a little bit bigger than these here 5-gallons. And maybe it's just because these are photos and these are autos. I don't know. But we'll give it a try, we'll find out. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be posting more content soon. Just getting used to growing and becoming better at this. The grow is good, the grow is well. Both of the seeds for the quick one have popped, and we got beautiful growth going on here. I don't know if this is good or not, but yeah, and we're good here. Beautiful growth going. We're back in the veg tent, vegging up some new grows. We got 6 quick ones and we have 2 OG Kush. I had bought a lot of seeds just to stock up on them. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. So far we got a beautiful growth going on here. plants seem to be loving where they're at right now. And like I said, this is just the veg. We popped in 2 new seeds because I wanted to test out the theory that if they go in a solo cup to a big 5-gallon, would that be good for it? Or just because that's how I did it in the last grow, and I didn't wait too long for it, but we got 2 plants that are going to be growing, and we're going to put these 2 into a 5-gallon fabric pot a little bit later on in life, probably next month. Same with the OG Kush. We're going to be putting this into another 1-gallon pot, and so on and so forth, until we reach a 5-gallon pot. And then when we reach a 5-gallon pot, we're going to leave 1 in veg, and we're going to take 1 and we're going to flower 1 of them.
That protects children's privacy and their safety online.
Day 25.
None of that is good information.
Now let's talk about the plant that had me stressed a little bit. Early veg on and is the photoperiods. The OG Kush was rough with a little bit of yellow, barely green, and the growth was slow. It felt like nothing was happening. If you're watching this and you've been there, you're not alone. Here's what I think may have been going on. If you got any better theories, let me know. Light intensity may have been too much for the stressed little plants. It was around 60% in the 2x2 at the ending. In the beginning, it was at 40%. The root zone may not have been really happy yet in the small cup. Limited buffering or limited buffer in the soil, easy to overwater. Or it could also be early nutrition timing can be tricky in small containers. Too little and they starve, too much and they lock out. And all I'm just saying is that it could be one of those things. A lot of times it can be a stack of small issues that creates one big problem. Back in the tent, we just decided to do a little bit of low stress training on this right now. Unfortunately, this doesn't have enough stacking in order for me to like start it on this plant here, but we'll start it at the top there. Yeah. This one a little bit as well. Started right there on the second node. Maybe I'm doing it a little bit too early, but oh well. Better late than never, I guess. Early than late? I don't know. Whatever. These ones are still looking bad. Again, I'm not familiar with photo periods, so also maybe it's because this solo cup kind of stuff, because I'm trying to upgrade from small to a big or something. I don't know, maybe it's that. But it's not looking good at all. Not one bit. Definitely some deficiency going on here. Let me know what you're growing on right now in the comments below. How's your grows going? Right now I got 2 Well, if you want to count, I got 4 DWCs going at the moment, but I got 3 DWCs that are in flower, while 1 is in veg. And then we have 2 more grows, 3 more grows going at the same time. So we'll get to those shortly in the future. But I can't wait until you guys see the next video. Like, we're going to be doing that OG Kush plant until we can no longer have space for it. We're back in the tent. It's been about a week and a half since we were in this tent. We're now seeing early signs of flowering. So I'm just using clips to get the maneuvering of the plant's branches to go in different directions, tucking leaves back to try to get ample lighting throughout the actual structure of the plant. This one's looking nice. I like the structure here. I'm not really good with autos, but I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to get it there, because if we could get autos growing, we don't have to worry about long veg times in photoperiods, because I'm not really great at growing, and I think it's because my soil or the watering process. So we recently also repotted the solo cups into a 1-gallon pot. We were going to do a 5-gallon, but I was thinking maybe it will be a little bit too late because we are in like day 20, 25, and look how small they are. I don't know what's going on with these. I was really thinking about starting over as well with these OG Kush. Look how small they are. Lengthy. They still got a little bit of green growth going on it. So I was like, maybe I should just leave it. Also, the I don't know. What do you think? It's really internodal structures are really like small. I read online somewhere they said that as long as there's green, there's hope. So I figured if there's green, leave it. We're doing well right now, so might as well just leave it, and hopefully the plant takes off, or it enjoys this transplant of new soil, or I don't know, something happens here, because we wasted a total of around 30 odd days. We're in 30 something days here, and these plants are still small. So I don't have any hopes of this yielding any kind of big yields in those solo cups that went a little bit bigger. Maybe next time, don't use it. Yeah, we're looking good. And 2 days later, these ladies are looking beautiful, except for the experimental grows. They've got some more work to do there. The 4x4, we brought all the plants into the 4x4 from the vegging tent. We have OG Kush finally looking like it's taking off, or finally looking like it's found its way in the soil. Roots being established. We also have the other OG Kush still looking a little bit behind, but hey, there's some green instead of yellowing. So there's the plus side of that. We also have the quick ones in the middle that are still in solo cups that I thought would, if we chop off the solo cup half, the roots can grow down into the soil and we won't have to worry about that. But you'll see what happens. The plants had other plans for me. so the only thing we're doing is just tucking branches down underneath this here scrog net. We had the scrog net last season. We were going to use it, but I was like, it's a little bit too late for that. So I wanted to try it this season grow, see if we can get the scrog net up going and would it benefit the plants. This is a reusable one by AC Infinity. Unfortunately, I did not know or could not find any Vivo Sun. I try to stick to all Vivo Sun, but a lot of people out there recommend not to go all one brand only. So as you can tell, we still have quick ones sitting in solo cups, but in 1 gallon pots. We have OG Kush finally looking like it's taking off. Or finally looking like it's found its way in the soil. Roots re-established. We also have the other OG Kush still looking a little bit behind, but hey, there's some green instead of yellowing. So there's the plus side of that. We also have the quick ones in the middle that are still in solo cups that I thought would, if we chop off the solo cup half, the roots can grow down into the soil and we won't have to worry about that. But you'll see what happens. The plants had other plans for me. We're back again in the next day, so the only thing we're doing is just tucking branches down underneath this here scrog net. We had this scrog net last grow. We were going to use it, but I was like, a little bit too late for that. So I wanted to try it this season grow, see if we can get the scrog net up going and would it benefit the plants. This is a reusable one by AC Infinity. Unfortunately, I did not know or could not find any Vivo Sun. I try to stick to all Vivo Sun, but a lot of people out there recommend not to go all one brand only. So as you can tell, we still have quick ones sitting in solo cups, but in 1 gallon pots. You can say that could become another experiment. So here's a little sneak preview of the next grow. Been a few days and we're back in the tent now. Still tucking leaves under the canopy or tucking branches that have grown a little too long or further out of the canopy. I want them to try to grow all together at the same time or the same length. Yeah, we can get a clip onto this, prevent it from coming up a little bit. Got it down without breaking anything. In the next grow, we actually snapped one of the branches off, one of the main sites for one of the plants that I am running. So that right there is going to be for the next video. My mistakes are your gains, so you do not make the mistakes that I've made. You can learn from, even though these are recorded in the past, these were done in the past, I still remember these grows as if it was yesterday. So if you guys got any tips and tricks to help me with growing autos, that's one thing that I really want to get into so that I can get a little bit more experienced in it. I guess I looked up online and got the opposite. I started out with autos for that main reason, but it's supposed to be the opposite. Autos are harder than photos, not photos are harder than autos. I guess don't listen to everything you hear online or read online. But then again, what's the point of actually growing and showing my growth without experimenting? with what everybody is saying. I mean, I got enough tents, or I got enough plants, or I don't know. I just want to try things out. I just want to get experimental with this, because of course I can just sit here and I can grow the same thing over and over, do the same thing over and over. But what's the point? It's not that quote unquote entertaining. We can perfect the grows, but also providing some form of entertainment using different form of grows. And we're back in the grow. I've added in some worm castings in 284 Bloom by Gaia Green. I had the trellis net a while back, probably like a week ago. And all I've done is just started tucking things under. Just start tucking when it gets a little bit too high above the canopy. Just tuck away. Or I put a clip on it. This one looks like it can come off now. I usually use a clip just to redirect the way the plant will grow. That's about it. This one looks like it needs to go down. Let's see if I can make this go down without breaking. Oh yeah, this will go down easy. Look at that. And just like that. We're now in flower, so I'm going to be removing these plants out that are down below here and moving them into the small 2x2 tent for vegging, because they look like they're doing well, look like they're bouncing back. Don't want to give it any kind of stress because it is still trying to grow. I don't know. Didn't want to toss out the plants just because they weren't thriving. So both OG Kush plants went in a solo cup to a 1 gallon pot. Transplanting is one of the moments where you can either reset the plant or stress it out worse. So I try to keep it simple. Do not overhandle the roots. Get the soil evenly moist, not soak, and give it time to respond. This is where I want to be real. I'm still new. So if you see something I could do better, drop it in the comments. I'm not here pretending to be a master. I'm just here documenting what's real. One of the OG Kush plants is part of experiment for extended grow or extended veg time. Not because it's the best way, but because I want to see how the plant behaves when it keeps going on long term. The plants weren't doing that well, and when I was putting in the pH down thing into the plant, I noticed there was like black flakes in it, and then I realized, maybe the reason why it's not doing well. A lot of people only show perfect runs online, but I learned more from weird runs. So this plant is basically my living classroom. Structure, recovery, how it handles transition, and what it teaches me about patience. Once the 4x4 was done and cleaned, I moved all the plants on over, and this is where things change fast. Better space, better airflow, better overall stability, and suddenly the OG Kush plants started acting like plants again. This is one of the biggest lessons I keep learning. Sometimes it's not one magical nutrient, sometimes the environment is the nutrient. Here's the part that still trips me out. Some of the plants showed purple coloration and some stayed green, even though they came from the same run. Purple could happen in different reasons: genetic, temperature swings, plant stress, nutrition timing. So I'm not going to pretend like I know a single cause here. But seeing this in real time taught me a lot about how plants can express differently even in the same environment. And late in the run, I saw something I didn't really notice in my early grows: senescence, the natural end of life, where the plant starts pulling resources from older leaves. Seeing the color change felt like a milestone, like, okay, the plant is actually completing its life cycle for once. For those that don't know, senescence is basically the natural late stage fade, but it varies by plant and by method of grow. So sometimes you'll get coloring, sometimes you won't get coloring, sometimes you'll get fading of the leaves, sometimes you won't get fading of the leaves. It just depends on genetic and the way that you're actually growing, like such medium or soil. I mean, yeah. Mid-flower, I decided to give the soil a little extra support by using worm casting and Gaia Green Bloom Focused 284. For the dry amendments, I followed the manufacturer's labeled rated at the potted plants. Gaia Green's directions for container top dressing commonly list at 15 milliliters per 4 liters of soil, so roughly 1 tablespoon per gallon of medium. This was applied about once a month. So again, bag matters. Read the bag, read your container. It might be different for you depending on how or what size you have, or your pots or plants. It's a variable. I'm just giving you the results of what I did for my plant. I'm not presenting this as the only way. I'm documenting what I did and what the labels say and what happened after. Even the plants never really took off, still made it through flower, just small, maybe like 18 inches. And honestly, it was a fun experiment because it taught me these things. Some plants can be behind all run and still finish. Early stress can permanently affect structure. You don't always need to panic, trash the plant. Sometimes you just need to learn from it. I get asked, can you show trichomes on YouTube? From what YouTube strictly emphasizes, the big red lines are content that sells or facilitates access to regulatory goods and content that framed as promoting drug use. So showing macro plant footage to explain ripeness as plant education is generally the safe line. What I like to avoid is links or directions to buy regulatory stuff, anything that turns into how to use or consume content. So back into the run. I just wanted to get that cleared and get that out. But anyways, we are still tucking, and also we are going through and tightening up the skirt, getting rid of some undergrowth that will not grow to the top or will not even do anything or benefit the plant. We still have the quick ones here in solo cups that we try to go and put it into a 1 gallon pot to see if maybe the plant will grow in the pot while there's a cup, or do I need to remove the cup? I noticed that the roots try to penetrate through the solo cup. So I figured if we cut parts of the solo cup a little bit instead of trying to plant it into new soil, then I believe maybe the plant would just thrive a little bit more. So the solo cups that are also inside the 1 gallons are also solo cup, but only half of the solo cup is in the soil, if that makes sense, because the lower half is in the soil. I just cut off partial of the cup because the roots were not established yet. So that's one reason why the roots were not established. So I was like, I'm gonna transfer it into a 1 gallon pot, and then I tried to cut it, and then the roots or the dirt fell apart, and I was like, no, what am I gonna do? Instead, I just planted them into a 1 gallon pot while still in a cup. So I just cut open pieces of the lower parts of the actual one solo cup, and in another one, I cut the whole part off of the solo cup just to see what the experiment would be like. And it's been about, what, I want to say about 3 weeks that I did that, 2 weeks since I've done that here in this video part of the video, and nothing has come from it. It looks like as if it's frozen in time, or as if it's not taken care, or it's stressed. We can tell that it's stress. I don't know what's causing the stress at this moment because it's soil. Some Gaia Green granulated bags list 20 milliliters per 4 liters or 4 tablespoons per gallon. So I always recommend reading the exact bag you have. So for approximately 3-gallon container, which is what we're trying to roughly go for, this works out roughly as 3 tablespoons total if your bag says 1 tablespoon per gallon, or 12 teaspoons total if your bag says 4 teaspoons per gallon. So now it's time to transplant this year OG Kush. For the soil, we're going with Gaia Green 444 with worm castings and some mycorrhizae to help with the roots. We've already used another pot to give ourselves a sort of a template or opening so that when we do get this plant out of this pot, we can just drop this pot or this plant right into that hole that was made from a second pot. I'm trying to, after transplanting, I'm trying to get as much soil as I can into this pot. Try not to waste it. This right here, looking well. Trying to get all this here. I don't know if I should be packing it down. Yeah. And there we go. We got a little bit of yellowing going on down there. But hey, we're still looking green. And that's all that matters. I went back to watering it using a bottle just for this. Like lifting it up just to test to see how heavy the pot is, and then water it in. So that next time I do have to water it, I do know how heavy the pot is or how heavy the pot feels. So this here is going to be part of another grow where I grow one plant in one tent. So stay tuned for that. This is gonna, I'm like recording multiple grows again. Like I don't know how to describe it. I can't, because I can't control where my attention is being put to, or because we are recording autoflowers and we're also recording this here OG Kush photoperiod grow, which is basically just another experiment grow. And we're back, looking lovely. This is where we see senescence happening. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the plant is now finally going through its senescence stage, which I didn't see in the last few grows. I was always wondering when it would happen or if it would happen. The OG Kush the next day, looking like it's thriving. Looking good. OG Kush is looking good. We got yellowing in the plants that are, expected. It's senescence. This is what the plant is looking like. But we do also have purpling going on. It's crazy that we have purple seeds and we have regular old green planted seeds. I've never seen it before, and it's oddly that it's half and half. So like literally 5 seeds is purple and 5 seeds were green. Or it turned purple. The flower turned purple whilst the other flower stayed green. And look at the dark purple and how it looks. Nice. It's like almost a dark blue purple hue. Yeah, look at the coloring. These ones are green whilst the others are staying green as well. Let me take one off and show you real quick. Another piece of the plant that's a little bit small. It wouldn't even amount to much. Super purple. OG Kush. Look at it. It's growing, baby. Like, look at this. Holy moly. It's doing its thing. It's loving life. It is actually bigger than all the other plants that are in this tent. Or, well, now it is. This one right here still got some more time to go. As you can tell, babe, like, it still has a bunch of green on it, which is good. This is where I want it to be at. All the plants in here are supposed to look like this one, but instead they all look like different stages, and you can't really, that's just how plants are, can't it? And then we got these stunted growths down here going on. Look at this. I mean, it's getting optimal light because this spraying, but this is what they talk about autoflowers. Once it starts flowering, that's it. Look at it, it's curled. How it curled right there, you can see it. And this is it. That's it for the plant. That's how it's gonna grow. If a plant is on a fast internal timeline or is stressed early, it can feel it and decide to flower. Because even though people would talk about auto-flowering like it's a switch, what can really happen is if a plant is on a fast internal timeline or it's stressed early, it can feel like it decided to flower before it even got bigger. And I did transplant it from a solo cup to a 1 gallon pretty early while the plant was already showing signs of being unhappy, yellow, stalled, not even pushing growth. So my theory is either the plant was already on a fast schedule or the early stress early stress plus transplant shock basically shortened the plant's veg cycle. Not sure, I'm not saying transplanting causing flower, more like it could be one of the factors that may play a part in the plant not focusing on the size and start focusing on surviving and finishing. So my theory, early stress transplanting timing may have shortened veg cycle. Let me explain what I'm thinking about because it is important to new growers. So basically plants are on a timer. They're gonna flower after a certain amount of days no matter what you do. So if they get stressed early, like root bound, overwater, underfed, too much light, bad root zone, then they don't want to wait for you to fix it. They will move forward just smaller. So if you stunt a fast plant early, it can end up flowering at like 10 inches tall and you're sitting there like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this already? And in my case, I went from a solo cup to a 1 gallon, and I'm thinking the plant might have been a little bit little to transplant and cause transplant shock on an already stressed plant. The combination slow growth for several days, sometimes longer. So you lose that momentum, and then suddenly you're in flower without even building the size of the plant that you wanted. In the next run, I want to test starting in a singly. So that's why in the future run, I want to start testing in a singly, starting in a starting in a slightly bigger container, or transplanting early when the plant is more healthier, keeping the environment more gentle in the first couple weeks so that it never stalls. It never really got that strong of a veg push either as well. So in my head, the question is, did I accidentally stack too much stress early? Solo cup limitation, root zone issues, then transplanted. So the plant never really built structure. And by the time it recovered, the plant was already in transitioning. That's why this run is such a good lesson for me, because it showed me how important the first couple weeks are. If the start is rough, sometimes you don't get that time back. Watching this back, I really think the early container stage and the transplant timing mattered. The plant was already struggling, so when I moved it up to the 1 gallon, it might have needed recovery and time instead of growth time. It can make it look like it hit flower early. Either way, it was a fun experiment, and I'm definitely adjusting how I handle early veg next time. And now we're back. As you can tell, many of the plants have been already harvested because they were already done, and we're still left with only 3 autoflowers, and we also have just the 1 photoperiod. Plan is to keep flowering, or my plan is to keep vegging out this 1 photoperiod. But unfortunately, this is all we got for the, I want to say, solo to a 1 gallon kind of experiment there. This is all we're going to get from it. But look at the size of these flowers here. Looking greatly beautiful. So the topping that I did actually was a good ratio that we did recently. Look how big it is compared to this bottle right here. And I stopped watering with a container that I was using earlier because I noticed it wasn't, like, the plant wasn't really doing well with the watering, because inside the actual watering container I started smelling like what it was, like mold. And I looked inside, it was like little black flakes, or little black specks on the walls of it. So I'm like, I quickly just got rid of it. I didn't even clean it. I didn't even try to do anything with it. I just got rid of it, and I left it and I put it in my garage, and that will now become the outdoor garden kind of like watering container for the future. And for now, we're going to be just using like these little bottles from water bottles as an actual bottle. As you can tell right there, did you see that the stem? Let's rewind that right there. Look at this. You see that stem? It is growing upside down, or curling into the soil. What is that? What kind of magic genie stuff is this? Call that Magini stuff. And look at this one right here. We only have one full autoflower that's left over, and it's looking lovely, but at the same time, it is also looking hairy. I don't know, how many weeks do you think we got left? How many days do you think we have left for this hairy monstrosity? Watch the moment. It's looking nice, but it's getting hairy, or looks like it could be foxtailing soon. I don't know. Like I've mentioned before, this is just experimental growing. I know not what I'm doing, though I do what I do because I'm just learning how to grow as I go along here. We learn something new every day, right? Why not learn something new that benefits you as well? Something like that. And now, here we go. We're going to break the soil down so that we can reuse it for the outdoor garden or for future grows. Let me know in the comments below if that's something you want to see me use or reuse old soil just to reuse it. The roots are looking nice. It doesn't look like we're root bound here. We could have got a little bit more root establishment in there, but hey, look at it, looking beautiful, looking white, nice, no awful smells, all organic as well. Looking like a big old bush. Punch it up. That's still some good amount of soil that's right there. And just gonna try to take out as much roots, particles, or root matter that's in the soil and trash it. All we really need is the soil that's right here. And then after that, we'll re-amend the soil with some worm casting and some 444 by Gaia Green. Come on, something in me is telling me. Are doing this is something that you've done before. We just reuse or reamend your soil with, reamend your old soil with nutrients and just reuse it. Or have you even tried that yet? Not gonna lie, I have not yet tried it, but I did try it in the garden outside and it worked perfectly fine. We had perfect tomatoes, basil, lemongrass, you name it, we had it though. We got another plant here. Look at the root structure. Beautiful. Nice. Very compact though. Room to grow. And this was very tough. This one was very tough than the previous one. I think this one had more roots in it, that's why. Definitely wearing a mask with this one. All that dirt flying into the atmosphere here. All that into the ozone layer. No, all this dirt just floating into the room, floating around the room. Definitely need a mask for this one. No, thank you. Oh, yeah. I got it ready long time ago, never did it. And we're off to the, look at this. The root structure of this stem grew just like the single pot did. Never in my days have I seen this ever like this before. It grew upside down, or like in a circular motion, or what do you call that? I don't even know what do you call that kind of growth in this field of growing. Like I said, I'm new to this. I don't know these terminologies, but at the same time, this is cool to see these things happening. And for it to happen twice in a grow, come on now. Sus. Or I got abilities. I got super growing abilities. I got the green stick. Wait, what? No, never mind. That doesn't match it. At the end, I always like to look at the roots, because roots can tell you the truth way more than the vibes do. Then I break the soil down and reuse it for outdoor gardening. And speaking of outdoor, this is probably how I was introduced to thrips last year. I spent a lot of my times outdoor trying to do a little bit of building a garden and gardening outdoors, and the pests could have hitchhiked onto the indoor grows. So now I'm stricter. I don't go from outdoor work straight into the tent. I try to wash hands, sometimes change clothes. I even keep my eyes out early. I even keep an eye out early, because catching pests early is everything. If you've ever battled thrips, drop what worked for you, because that was one of my toughest problems a few grows back. So that's this run. Small tent, veg, big tent, takeover. Weird early flowering that corrected later, purple versus green expressions into the plants, real senescence, small plants that still finished, and me learning the whole way through. If you got value out of this, subscribe, because I got 5 more videos like this in the pipeline, and I'm staying consistent. And if you're experienced, I want your feedback. Tell me what you've been doing lately, especially in the early veg stage. Subscribe for the next video. You won't want to miss that one. Let's just say it was a very crazy grow. So here we are. Let's talk about trichomes. This is one of my favorite parts of the whole grow, because it feels like you are finally reading the plant's real-life timeline. Trichomes are those tiny resin glands on the flower and sugar leaves. The way it looks like that is basically the plant's protective system. As the plant matures, the trichome change in appearance, and the change gives the better clue about maturity than leaf color alone. The way I look at it, they are basically the plant's protective system. As the plant matures, the trichomes change in appearance, and that change gives me a better clue about maturity than the leaf color alone. When I check the trichomes, I'm mainly looking at the heads, not just whether it looks frosty from far. Under a micro view, you usually see a few stages. First, you see clear trichomes look glassy and see-through. That usually reads it as early development, like the plant is still building and not fully finished yet. First is clear. Clear trichomes look glassy and see-through. For me, that's usually reads as early development signs, like the plant is still building and not fully finished yet. Then you'll see cloudy. Cloudy trichomes look milky or opaque. That usually tells me that the plant is getting deeper in maturity. This is where I slow down and really start paying attention to the whole plant because things can change quickly near the finish. And later, some trichomes can shift towards amber tones. Amber is like a warm honey color. When I see more of that showing up, that tells me that the plant is entering the last stage or the later stage of ripeness. I'm not saying one color is good or bad, I'm just documenting what I see and how it lines up with the plant's overall finish. But trichomes are one piece. I also watch for the rest of the plants for clues, like looking for the pistils, those hairs like structures on the flower. Early on, they are usually bright and fresh. Later on, they become darker and curl in more. That shift can be signs that the plant is moving towards the end. I also look for the calyx's swelling. Sometimes late in the flower, it starts looking chunkier and more formed, like they are filling and stacking. Then there's the leaf. They fade in color and shift. This grow is interesting because I really saw the senescence colors that I didn't notice as strongly in the early runs. Some leaves stay greener than most, some faded, and some showed purple. The important thing is that I try not to panic when I see these colors late in the flower. I'm learning that the difference between normal end stage changes and the problem that needs action. So when it comes to showing this on camera, I'm not doing this to hype anything up. I'm doing this as a plant progress check. I want to see what you see. Because if you're learning too, this is one of the best ways to understand where your plant is in its life cycle. And this is also why I love documenting. The plant catches details I missed in the moment. When I edit, I can compare week by week and be like, okay, this is when the trichomes started clouding up, and this is when the color faded started, or the color fade started, and this is how the plant finished from here. Now we have the trying to get a better view here, but we have some of the trichomes smashed onto the lens itself, or the macro lens. But as I was saying before, we have two plants that are in two different like colors. Like how was I able to even get one plant that was in a solo purple and the other plant that was in the other solo green? You know, what's the likelihood of it being a 50-50 chance that both plants would be both purple, or a 50-50 chance that both plants would be the green tone, or both would be one green, one purple? So yeah, that's the craziest thing that happened with this grow as well. One of the things that sucks most about trying to get the actual like close up with this here jeweler's loot is that it gets dirty easily, and it's harder to even see out of it once it gets dirty, and you can't clean it because if you do clean it, you can scratch the lens. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, nothing in the 4x4 that I had to make from the 8x4. We're gonna be setting up a new Vivo Sun 4x4 so that we can get everything Vivo Sun, just to get everything aligned with the gear. This is not sponsored by them, although it would be awesome to get a sponsorship by them as well, get some gear so we can have a giveaway, start all that stuff, and build a community, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I appreciate each and every one for checking out these videos. Wonder what's happening. As always, this your boy, the Cosmic Cultivator. Peace out. You can also check my music out. Yeah. Leave me in the comments below. As always, stay growing. And quickly before we go, this video was sponsored by me. Sponsored by me. Shout out to me again for another grow, learning and growing as I go. This is educational. I hope this was as entertaining for you as it was for me.